Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Good evening, sir. I can hear you, sir.
All right.
Yes, good evening. I can hear you.
All right.
Yeah.
So, can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Very well. Yeah. You're on the first outline.
All right.
It's perfect.
So, welcome once again.
Yeah. We are seeing your screen.
All right. So, I will be taking us on the theory part of this course so that we can understand everything
Thank
that
you, sir.
we're supposed to know about full stack web development. So, like I told you people on WhatsApp earlier today, that full stack web development comprises of front end and back end. So, if you can be able to design the front end and also code at the back end to achieve a full functional website, it means that you are a full stack website developer. So today we are going to go down through the theoretical part, which I want to make it brief. Like I told you, I want the course to be 100% practical, in the sense that the theory won't be much, but we will spend more time on practical so that you can be able to be your own boss, because practical is everything. If you know the whole theory in the whole world and you don't know what you are doing, you can't deliver a project. You still don't know how to build a website. So by now, I believe that everybody have downloaded this outline. So the first thing I have here is what is programming. Then I wrote, programming referred to as a technological process of telling a computer which tasks to perform in order to solve a problem. So whenever I read out what I have, I will explain in a layman understanding, because using a layman understanding, you can also understand it better. So programming is a way we talk to computer, just like you are now. I don't know your tribe. Let's assume you are a Yoruba guy. You understand? So if you check, all Yorubas, they understand only the Yoruba language. You understand? So that is how this computer understands programming. That is the way, if we talk to it, it will understand it. Computer doesn't know anything, but there is a way we talk to computer. You understand? And that method is using a programming languages. You understand? Using programming languages. So being a website developer, you are going to learn those programming languages or programming languages in which you are going to use what? Talk to computer in order for computer to do what? Do something for you. You understand? So computer understand its own language. So in this course, you are going to be learning those languages in which when you use to talk to this computer to do what? To deliver a full functional website, computer will do what? Deliver that website for you. You understand? So programming is what? Is refers to a technological process of telling computer which task to perform in order to solve a problem. So you building a website, you are solving a problem. You building a website, you are solving a problem to your client because he needs the website to run his business or to do one or two things. So that is programming for you. Then there's number two here. What we have here is HTML. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. HTML is the standard markup language for creating a web page or creating web pages. So like I told you people about you being a front-end web developer. If you are a front-end web developer, you're supposed to be able to make use of HTML language to do what? Design user interfaces. So in a layman understanding, HTML enables you or enables a developer to design UI. Whenever I said UI, know that I'm talking about user interface. So if you don't know HTML, you can't design UI, you can't design user interface. So HTML is the language that enables you to design user interface. What is this user interface? Like I told you people in the morning, if you search www.amazon.com, the way it looks, the way everything is being designed, the color, the text, those things you are seeing with your eye is user interface or UI. If you type www.gg.ng, the way it displays there, whatever you are seeing on that homepage is called UI or user interface. So if you have the knowledge of HTML, you can be able to do what? Design a user interface. So that is the work of HTML. We are saying this in the theoretical way. When you start making use of it in a practical way, you understand it better, because practical talks more than theory. So however you understand it, just know that HTML enables you to do what? Design user interface of a website. So number 3 here is CSS. CSS, the full meaning of CSS is cascading style sheet. Cascading style sheet. It describes how HTML elements are being displayed on the screen. Definitions can be can be confusing a bit if you didn't understand it well, but that's why I always use a layman understanding after defining it. So not knowing what CSS is, let me explain. If you open that Amazon.com, you see that most text on that page has red color. Some area has background color of black. You understand? So have you imagined or ask yourself, how come about this area is black, this area is white, and this text is red, this place is green? So CSS is the language that enables us to do what? Style a front end, which we are designing. If you are designing with HTML now, which you want to achieve a UI, CSS is the language that will enable you to style those pages you are designing with HTML. So with CSS, you can add color to text. With CSS, you can add background color to an area, a particular area in a web page. With CSS, you can, shift a text a bit from the left to right. With CSS, you can center a text. You can bring a text to a center. With CSS, you can carry a text and put it to the right. You can carry a text and put it to the left. So CSS enable us to style our page, to make it to look more beautiful. Why HTML enable us to just do what? Design, just to display the information, to handle how to just display our text and information. Then the CSS comes in and help the HTML to make the page to be more attractive. You understand? So CSS and HTML work hand in hand. Whenever HTML exists, CSS must exist. So as we are learning HTML, the practical part of it, that is how I'm going to also teach you CSS, which you are going to incorporate with the HTML to achieve a full functional web page that looks catchy, that looks beautiful. You understand? So that is CSS for you. Don't worry about your questions. When I'm done with my explanation, you can ask me a question. You can write them down. You can use voice notes. I will reply to all of them. But if, as I'm going, if there is some questions you think you have, I think by now you're supposed to have your notes on your pen. Please write your questions down. When I'm done, you can bring them up. But I don't need to stop because of your data. That is one. Two, this is not practical. Practical, I will not be going like this if I just do anything. And I'll wait for you to look at it, practice it, that kind of thing. But this theory, I'll just be going. You have a question, write it down. I can even pause a bit, maybe because of some people might want to write something, but so that they will not. Okay, the best thing here is that I will just be explaining. After I will share the video on the Telegram. You can rewatch it later, in case you didn't have anything to ask now, or maybe because I'm explaining going down quick. I will still drop the video on the Telegram group. You can rewatch it, then write down your questions, bring it up later. That's if you can capture any area you're gonna ask me now. I will just be explaining. So number 4 here is JavaScript. JavaScript is a scripting language, a programming language that allows you to implement a complex feature on a web page. So JavaScript is a language on its own in which you are going to learn in this course. So in a layman understanding, we always use JavaScript for action and for also dynamically do what? Send information to a web page. JavaScript enables us to do actions. I'm just using a layman understanding because I believe using a layman understanding will make you to understand better. JavaScript, we use it for actions, and also we use it for dynamically do what? Update content on our web pages. So this is the layman understanding of it. Because if I use layman understanding, I think it will help you more when we start doing practical. So JavaScript is it's a scripting language which enables us to perform actions on our web pages and also help us to dynamically update content on our web pages. So that is the meaning of JavaScript and what it does, how it helps us to build a website. So number 5 here is a PHP. The full meaning of PHP is hypertext preprocessor. Hypertext preprocessor. It is a server-side scripting language that's especially suited for what? Web development, and can be able to do what? And can be embedded into HTML. So because of data, I may not be able to be reading this the way I wrote it. You can go through it, but I will be using layman understanding to explain. So PHP is a server-side language. Just know it like that. With PHP, we can do what? In the back end. So when you say that you are a back end developer, it means that you know PHP. A back end developer is someone that knows PHP. You understand? A front end developer or web developer is someone that knows only HTML and CSS. A back end developer knows what? PHP and MySQL. You understand? So server-side language is the PHP. PHP is a server-side language. So with PHP, we can do what? Communicate to database. When we say it's a server-side language, that is because we can use it to do what? Write a code that will communicate with our database. It is a server-side language because we can use it to write a code that can communicate to database, or it can send information to and fro database. That is why we call it a server-side language. So domain name is a string that is used to identify service provided through the internet. This one is just everybody will know this. When somebody tell you that, it's a kind of let me say a programmatical term. When you are a programmer, there are some things you're supposed to know. It's just it's just a name. When somebody tell you what is your domain name, that is if you have a website, that is the link to your website. Like for example, google.com. Google.com is a domain name for the Google company. What is domain name for Amazon? Domain name for Amazon is www.amazon.com. That is domain name for you. So number 7, what is database? A database is an organized collection of structured information or data, typically stored electronically in a computer. So database is a kind of house in a layman understanding for website data. What do I mean by website data? For example, Facebook, everybody accesses Facebook. Have you imagined that anytime you log in, all the information you've entered there will still come out and display to you? It is because Facebook has a database that stores everyone's information. The information that you are entering on Facebook doesn't fly on air. It enters somewhere. That place it enters and saved is called database. You understand? So you as a website developer, you also must know how to use database so that the website you are going to be building for your clients, the users that will be using the website, whenever they enter their information, you as a developer, you can also store those information in the database. Whenever they come back to make use of their accounts in that website you created, you can also retrieve it from the database using PHP and display it to the HTML. So database is mainly used for storing information. So I hope you guys are understanding. Or am I running so far? Am I too fast?
No,
Should I go on?
right on.
Should I go on? All right.
Yes, go on.
Go
All
on,
right.
go on, sir.
So
Go on, sir.
database statements. All right. Database statements.
Yes,
We
go on.
have insert, select, update, and delete. So this, okay. Just note this database statement. Just don't worry about why is it here. Just know that we are going when we start doing practical. When we start doing a database practical, that is when you start seeing the insert, select, update, and delete. That is when you see them in action. You understand? Just note that. Note that database statements are insert, delete, select, update. Practical will explain more. Then what is primary key? A primary key is a column or a columns that contains value that uniquely identify each row in a table. So this primary key here now, like as I'm explaining it in a theoretical form or in a theoretical pattern, just know it. Don't worry yourself how it's why am I saying this? Just know it for now. When we start doing it practical, that is, it will be 100% clear to you. You understand? Just know that what we are doing is a theory. It's not everything that will be 100% clear. But once you place your hand on the desk during the practical, man, you just love what you just love what you are doing here. Like or secondary school, for example, because some secondary school might have or will be using that convention in where they will assign each student an ID. But Kaduna University, every registration number, that registration number is the primary key in which the supervisor, your lecturer, or the head of the school uses to identify you in that school. That reg number cannot exist twice, even in 100 years to come. Registration number given to you in school is your ID, is your primary key. It will not exist again as long as that school exists. That is how it also play a role in the database. In the database, we have what we call primary key. That primary key is a unique identifier for a particular item in the database. And that unique identifier, which is the primary key, cannot exist twice. For example, in a layman understanding, using another method or another format, have you imagined that in a Facebook, whenever you come and type your email and password, you will see your data, you won't see someone else's data? It is because Facebook has given you your own primary key ID, which they use to identify you on a Facebook, on the whole Facebook. And no one else, even if you delete that your account, no one else can access it. Or no one else will know that we use that your primary key or your ID. So that is how we identify each user in a database, using what? Primary key. So for what is foreign key? Number 10. Foreign key is a column of data in one table that refers to the unique data value, often the primary key data in another table. So let me use an LMI understanding. Foreign key is a key in a table that acts as a primary key in another table. You can write this thing that I'm saying down. Foreign key is a key in a table that acts as a primary key in another table. This is my own explanation. This one we are seeing here is a generic explanation. I'm using my own understanding explanation so that you can get it. Foreign key is a key in a table that acts as a primary key in another table. For example, let's assume we have a table here. Okay, let's assume we have a store, a pharmacy store here. And that pharmacy store, they have a POS software, which you here built, because you can build POS after learning this POS software. So in that database, you have a table called staff. That is the staff that is selling the drugs and whatever they are selling in that store. And you have another table called cell. That cell will have the detail of, maybe if it's a drug, it will have the drug name, expiring dates, and so. Now, in the staff table, staff ID is the primary key that identifies every staff. But in the sales table, there is another key called staff ID. Don't forget that in the staff table, we already have staff ID, which is ID, primary key there. But in the sales table, it exists again. That staff ID exists. So as it is existing in the sales table, it is now foreign key. Why it is existing in the sales table is because if a particular staff make a sale, you can identify that staff that make that sale. So that maybe if something happen, something goes wrong, you will know that it is this staff that do what, make that sale. So in that sales table, that staff ID is a foreign key there. But in the staff table, the staff ID is the primary key there. So anyhow you understand this, just don't worry yourself much. Everything will be cleared when we enter practical. So server, what is server? A server is a computer program or device that provides a service to another computer program and its users. So in a layman understanding, just know that server is a computer. Your computer there now, which you are using, is a server. as long as it does what? As long as it has the privilege to serve other computers. For example, let's assume that in this my parlor here, I have 5 computers. And among that 5 computers, all the 4 computers, we are using it to make cell. Then among the 5 computers, one among them is for the admin. Admin, that is the owner of the pharmacy store. I'm still using, always remember, if I'm making an example, I'll be using a pharmacy store. So we have 5 computers here. One is for admin, that is the owner of the pharmacy store. 4 is for the staffs, 4 staffs. So have you asked yourself, if you come to buy something, you go to staff A will make a sale. If you go to staff B will make a sale. If admin, the owner of this store, comes to his own computer, he will see all the sales that is being made by those 4 staffs in his own computer. How does that stand to be? Why is it like that? It is because the developer or the person that ran the network or set up the software has made that admin computer the server computer. So as it is the server computer, it opens a door for other staff's computer to send information to its admin computer. So those cells that they are making is entering into the admin computer, meaning that the admin computer has the database installed or set up in the admin computer. So as long as that database is in the admin computer, that admin computer is automatically called a server computer, because it gives other staff access to do what? Put in stuff and fetch out stuff. So a server computer or a server is a computer that serves other computer. Just know it like that. So advanced clarification, variable, an example. So variable, what is variable? Variable is used to store information. You understand? But I'm going to use a layman understanding. In a layman understanding, variable is a container that holds our value, which we are going to be referenced later. Variable is a container that holds our value or our information, which we want to be referenced later. So example, I made an example here and I wrote $, my variable name. That $, is when we start doing practical, you understand the meaning of that $. Don't worry about it. When we start doing practical in PHP, you understand it. So data type. What is data type? Data type refers to the type of value a variable has. In programming, we always know or talk about data type. All these are the terms you're supposed to know. If you don't know them, if I enter practical and start talking, you will be confused. So data type refers to the type of value a variable has. So example, we now have string, integer, boolean, float. After you go through them, so that I will not waste most of your data. But just know that when we enter practical, this data type will sync well. Like you will see them in action. This is just a written stuff. Then operator. Operator is a symbol used to perform operations. If you look at, I have operator and the names. Plus is addition, minus is subtraction. This is just normal mathematical stuff we know. Assignment operator, equal to, whenever you use equal to, it means that you want to put in something in a variable. I showed the expression, but don't worry yourself. Just make sure you go through it on your own. In the practical, you see them in action. Practical is more better. Practical, when we start writing practical, all these things, when you look at it, you just smile. So we have comparison operator. Just look at them. Operator and their name. Double equal to is equal. We use it to check if something is equal. Exclamation mark and the equal to means not equal to, if something is not equal to. Just go through them. In practical, you see them in action. increment, plus, increment. That is when we want to increment something. Let's assume that we have a variable holding a number 1. In programming, whenever we say that, we call that variable and say plus, it means that we want to increment that thing by 1 and keep an upwards. Minus is for us to decrement. Don't worry yourself. Don't crack your head. You will see them in action in practical. Logical operator and or. This sign that looks like this, I don't know what it called, but it's still ants, but you're gonna see them in practical. String operators, dots. In the name we have concatenation. It means that in the PHP programming language, which we are going to be doing the practical part of it, whenever you use dot, it means that you want to join two things together. Let's assume we have two variables. One is holding your first name, second one is holding your second name, and you want to display the two of them, the two names at once. Just you want to display the two names at once. The dot will enable you to join the first name and second name together. So don't worry yourself. In the practical, you will see them. So, but I will start with class, PHP class. A class is a template for object. An object is an instance of a class. So in PHP, I'm going to show you guys practically what class is. You understand? So in element understanding, class is just like a template that holds other functions or instances. You understand? So just know it like that. In practical, you see it in action. Then number 6 is function. A function is a block of statement that can be used repeatedly in a program. So like I told you, in class, that it is a template that holds what for other, is a template for objects or functions. So function here is a block of statements that can be used repeatedly. So in programming, function, you find them inside a class. Just know that in programming, functions, you find them inside a class. They can be on their own though. They can be on their own. But most times we use them inside a class, to make the to do what? To make our code to look more advanced, and also for us to achieve what we want to achieve. Because as long as you're a programmer, you are trying to solve a problem. So all these things I'm mentioning, class, functions, they are things we do in practical. Also, we have what we call building function. Building function is a function that comes with PHP. You understand? Building function is what there are functions that comes with PHP. So when we talk about these functions in practical, you're gonna see them. We have building functions. We have the functions you'll be writing by yourself. You understand? So don't worry yourself. Don't crack your head if you are trying to, in this training stuff, or sometimes if somebody or your instructor is saying something, you might be anyone that is not entering well, you'll be cracking your head. I must put it in my head. No. Just don't worry yourself. Like I told you, practical tells more. So loop in PHP are used to execute the same block of code as specified number of time. So in element understanding, loop is used for repeat. Loop, we use it repeated to execute an action or to execute something repeatedly. You understand? Loop, we use it to repeat an action concurrently. Let's assume now that you find yourself in a situation whereby you are coding and you have information to be displayed or to be fetched from database, and you don't want to fetch that information once. You might encounter that situation, or you might meet a situation whereby you want to display something often and on. You want to repeat it several times. So loop is it's a function or a PHP function that will enable you to do what? Display those information repeatedly. So example of the loop, we have do loop, we have while loop, we have for loop. So you are going to see it in practical. So system requirements. System requirement, this is what you must have in order to do what? Undergo this training. You must have laptop, computer desktop. Number two, hard disk. Normally, as your computer is, they're supposed to be hard disk. Then Windows that I want, so that you won't waste much of your time, so that you will not enter into a problem. Windows 8, Windows 10, or Windows 11, 64-bit. Then at least let your computer have 2 gig RAM or 4 gig RAM. I believe most of you will understand that. Then software requirements. This is the software we need in order to do what? Undergo this training. NetBeans, WAMP server, JDK, Java Development Kit, Visual C++, then Mozilla Firefox or Google Chrome. I will be sending the link for this software so that you can quickly download it. So core practical. This core practical is just like we going back from the beginning, trying to do everything we said in theory in a practical way. That is starting them practically. That's what this core practical is. So I think we are done now. We are done with the theory. So bring up your questions. Let me answer them. All right. Good luck, guys.